Hi, I'm Heather Boyd. Welcome to another edition of IP Somm. Today my guest is Heidi McLaren, and she's the owner and operator of Wanderlust Scarves and Tonbo Luxury Tours. Today we're going to be talking about transitioning trademarks while I make some amazing mocktails and cocktails. Heidi, why don't you introduce yourself? Introduce your company.
Yeah, so I'm the owner of Wanderlust Scarves, and I started Wanderlust Scarves about 2.5 years ago. And it launched because I love to travel and I love scarves, and it just all fell into place when I started to bring home so many scarves from my travels. I decided to sell them online to keep all my friends happy, and
like
it's just gone on with that from that. And then I always knew that the traveling would go into something more than just a hobby. And from that, I've launched Tombo Luxury Tours. And Tonbo is a luxury tour company that's going to be taking small groups of travelers to Southeast Asia mostly. Bali, Thailand, Vietnam are what's on the books for 2020. And so I'm looking to help people who want to see that part of the world but have never been and are a little bit nervous maybe about going over there and have never done it before. So we're going to hold your hand the whole way, take you to the most beautiful places, stay in gorgeous hotels, and that is what Tombo is all about.
I can't wait to take one of the tours. And by the way, this table runner came from
Bali.
I bought it off of Heidi during her Christmas sale for her Wanderlust scarves. So.
Yes.
So today we're going to be starting with mocktails and cocktails. I'm doing the cocktail, and Heidi will be doing the mocktail because she's driving later today when we go off onto a retreat together. Yeah. So we're going to be doing kind of like a tropical flavors, which I'm going to focus on for the cocktail part of it, Aviation Gin by Ryan Reynolds. So I'm just going to put some fresh mint from my garden that I've dried into them. Heidi doesn't like mint, so we're going to avoid that with her. And then I always find that lemon in a drink, you get more flavor if you zest the lemon instead of squeezing the lemon. You can also add squeezed lemon.
Zesting is so good though.
Yeah. And then I'm going to also, sorry, this is hard work. Hot in here now. Also some fresh ginger. My little trick is I keep it in the freezer, peel it off where I need it, and then fresh grate it because it's easier to grate when it's frozen, and it gives you that fresh ginger zing.
Yeah.
So we're also going to add some raspberries. These have also been frozen, so they add to the flavor, and that way they don't get all mushy in the drink as well. And some frozen mangoes. One more raspberry, that's good.
Looking good.
Yeah. So for me, I'm going to add the gin now. And it's always good to have your own paraphernalia that's got your own name on it. It says Heather's on it. Heather's Bar.
All right.
And then some pineapple juice to both. Do you like pineapple?
I love pineapple.
So it's kind of half and half pineapple and half with Perrier waters.
That's good.
Or no, not necessarily Perrier. It can be Esca. Esca has a little bit of a lemon zest to it, so I'm going to use that instead.
Sounds good.
There's also the Italian sparkling waters.
That's my favorite.
Is it?
Yes,
The
I
San
love
Pellegrino?
Yeah.
I personally don't like any brown pops or sweetened pop. I guess soda pop or whatever. I don't like them. I prefer just sparkling water in beverages because then you can actually taste the flavor of the beverages. I'm not seeing right now while I grab a spoon because we should really stir this up.
Give it a little stir.
Yeah.
That's good.
Oh, I should do another spoonful. You can take that out. Just in case you don't have gin on there. Okay.
So looks.
Salute!
Salute!
Cheers! It's hard to drink out of these mason jars, but they look fantastic.
They do. It's
I think
really good.
I think we need new glassware for cocktails and mocktails. So
Maybe.
If
You get
anybody
some
has
that says
any-
Heather's Bar.
that's right. Or IP Somm. Somebody hit me up. That'd be great.
That's a good idea.
So what do you think?
I think it's delish.
I think I need more gin.
And I would add maybe light rum to that.
Oh yes, light rum would actually
If I
go
wasn't
really well
driving.
with
Yeah.
light, or even dark rum would go really well with the pineapple.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a double shot. She's driving.
I'm
just
driving.
to be clear today.
Yes.
Um,
Under control there.
Yeah. Using my finger. Oh, that's good. Yeah.
Really good.
Aviation Gin doesn't have. It's got a lot of botanicals, but they're not overstated. So it goes really well with the pineapple juice, and then you get really good flavor of the ginger and the mint in there. So.
I had a bad experience with gin when I was young.
Oh.
So gin and I don't get along very well.
That's unfortunate. I've recently started collecting gin, so
Okay.
I have all sorts. My daughter gave this to me for Christmas.
Oh,
so,
lovely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Too bad she didn't give me Ryan Reynolds with it, but whatever.
You can
Okay.
dream. You can dream.
So let's talk a little bit about your trademarks.
Sure.
So Janelle, my creative director, is going to show you in some way the two trademarks that Heidi's been using. So Wanderlust Scarves has a dragonfly motif on it, and I think you bought that off of the internet.
I
did
did
you?
buy it.
I don't recommend doing that, and tell us why.
Because anybody could use it. So even though I bought it and have permission, 10 other people could have bought it and have permission as well. So then it's not unique to me.
Right. So
But-
it doesn't, as we talked about in our last one. Sorry.
Yeah.
As we talked about in our last episode of IP Somm, a trademark specifies the source of specific goods and services. And if more than one people are using that same trademark or mark for different goods and services, or for those types of goods and services, it's not distinctive of you, so it cannot be your identity.
Right.
So she then transitioned and started using that same, Heidi did, that same dragonfly motif into her Tonbo luxury tours and trademark. It looks really good, but again,
It's not unique.
it's not unique. So
Yeah, so I have commissioned an artist who is creating a dragonfly so that it will sit in the same position. The logo will look very similar, but it will be my own unique design and creation by an artist that I can then go see Heather and have it trademarked.
now she went to commission this because I told her.
Yes.
about this.
So all of my,
let's just be
I
clear.
only met Heather maybe a year ago. If
In April.
Yeah.
So just less than a year.
Just
Yeah.
less than a year. And so all this information about trademarks was not even on my radar. So I've learned a lot from Heather, and for sure it's something that will go in the list of things to do as my business grows, for sure.
Now, one of the reasons why I think Heidi's use of the dragonfly in the Wanderlust scarves, and then again in the Tombo Tours, I think that's brilliant because it actually is kind of derivative of her. So it shows a natural transition from one business through to another one. So a lot of businesses, they as they're moving along, they realize that the focus that it used to be is going into another direction. So sometimes the best way of being able to do that, rather than completely rebranding, is to use your brand, your previous brand, but just transition it into another form of business, but still maintain both. I think you decided on the Tombo luxury tours because it has an opportunity of making you more money in the long run.
In the long run,
Yeah.
yes, for sure. And
I'm thirsty, I'm drinking.
yeah, and my true passion is travel. And when I was on our last trip that we did to Chiang Mai, Thailand, with a group of women,
Which was in January
which
this
was in
year.
January.
And it was your inaugural
It was
run,
my
right?
inaugural run with Tombo Tours, and it was very clear to me that it was what I meant to do. And I was totally filled up with joy and seeing the connection the women made. This was a women's only, but other tours won't be. The connection the women made with each other, their just thrill and joy at seeing a different country and what they experienced. It just, I was like in tears, like just thinking about it and talking on my little Instagram story, saying,
I watched them all. It was fantastic.
So, it was amazing. And at the end of the tour, every woman on the trip was in tears. Nobody, it was just a resounding success. And I realized it's really what I'm meant to do. So that's,
That's awesome. Can you tell us a little bit of why you chose the name Tombo?
Sure. So Tonbo is the Japanese word for dragonfly. And because a few reasons, my daughter-in-law is Japanese, so I'm a little bit into the Japanese culture. Obviously I love dragonflies, which is why it's part of my logo. And I wanted a name that was not, I had originally had Wanderlust Scarves Travel, which is because I was thinking it would always be women only travel, but I'm changing that thought and going to be doing with my husband tours that are both men and women. So I wanted a name that was not too feminine, that had a bit of an exotic sound to it, but was easy to pronounce, that was a little bit different, and that just sort of flowed off the tongue. And Heather approved it when we came up with it one night at a bar, I think it was. Maybe.
I don't know where it was.
It was
probably at a bar.
That women's meeting.
Oh, yeah. The women talk,
we kind of had women's talk.
So
that's
what I suggested to Heidi was she was really set on sticking with the dragonfly theme, and I suggested she look at translations of the mark, of the word dragonfly in other languages. Specifically languages in and around the Asian, is it Southeast Asia?
Well, Southeast Asia is, considered Bali and Thailand and Vietnam and all of that.
So those kind of,
And Tonbo was great.
And then I did a quick search and there wasn't anything up there, so.
Yeah, there we are. Yeah, so it's perfect.
And Heidi's recently paired up with Antonio Mariello, who does
Savor Italy. C is on his business card, but it's Savor Italy Tours.
Yeah.
And so I'm an official TICO registered outside sales representative now, but you still have to work under a travel agent to sell travel in Ontario. So I met Antonio and we connected right away, and I'm so grateful to be able to work underneath his company as a tour representative, and I'll help him hopefully sell some Italian tours too. So.
Oh, his Italian tours are fantastic. I went on one. How did you meet Antonio?
Well, so happens I met Antonio right at Heather's house. I always meet lots of interesting people with Heather, it seems. Yeah.
And so the friendship has carried on. It's fantastic.
Well,
thank you so much for joining me.
This
has been great. I hope you enjoy your mocktail.
I will.
I will just say that obviously with all of these episodes, we don't provide legal advice. Every instance that we're talking about trademarks or other IP is individual to the guest that we're speaking about. And we really want you to enjoy, whether it's a mocktail or a cocktail, your beverage of choice. Cheers.
Cheers.
Thanks for joining us today. If you like what you saw here, please like, share, comment, and subscribe to our channel. If you have ideas for future episodes of IP Somm, feel free to leave them in the comments below or to send them to an email in the information provided. If you'd like to be a guest on the show, send an email to info@pillarip.com. We look forward to hearing from you. Cheers!